I am Enrico Sassi. I am here to present you some architectures of mine, especially the project called Casa dell'Ape, the bee's home. And I will also show you a couple of other things I made in wood. The Casa dell'Ape, it's a very special building, in fact. It's a place in which you receive lectures, you learn how to be a beekeeper. So it's a building inside this cantonal agricultural company in Mezzana. It's a professional practical university, and they didn't have there a building in which teaching the science of beekeeping. The Casa dell'Ape, it's built here in Switzerland in the center of the Europe, and the Canton Ticino is this region. In the south of the Canton Ticino, there is here Mendrisio, and it's the place in which the centro, the teaching center of Mezzana, it's built, and where all the people that want to make a professional connected with agriculture and green study. The Società Ticinese Apicoltori, the local society of beekeepers, and I know them, and they ask me, Enrico, would you like to study something? We don't have a lot of money. It's necessary to make a cheap project. We have a place. It's okay. It's an interesting project. And the bees are very important also in Mezzana. Without bees, we don't have fruits. We don't have agriculture. The nature doesn't work. Einstein said, if we don't have bees, the world would end in 3 months. The system of agricultural production without impollinatori stop, and if the system of impollination stop, we don't have nothing to eat. So it's a very important part of the ecological system. And this exhibition, it's organized by Davide Conconi. Davide Conconi, it's an important figure in this project because he's the president of the Bees Associazione Apicoltori, bees keeper in Ticino, and it's also the ideator of this building. The request of the project were very simple. They would like to have something covered, some structure to protect objects outside, and 2 closed classrooms. And the idea was we use wood because with bees, concrete structure, metallical structure, other materials seems not to be adequate to this project. And the volume is basically a roof with pillars. It's the Tempio dell'Ape, the bee temple. The project is very simple, in fact. We build 3 steps. We build a platea, something to separate the architecture from the ground, like the classical temples. And after these 3 steps, we build a very simple wooden structure. It's a rectangle in proportion to 1, with wood pillars. And the measure of the pavilion is also a rhythm, the raster. You have 12 modules and 6 modules of the partition. And then you have pillars prefabricated in wood and the roof. And this 2 rooms building, it's the laboratorio when you make operations, so smielatura, when you work with the ONAI. And this is a classroom, and the classroom, it's open here. You look outside. This is a glazed facade. It's a transparent one, and this is our opaque. It's wood. 2 blind facades and 2 transparent facades. This is the concept of the building. The building is light. It's in wood. It's prefabricated. Each piece can be changed without throwing away the building. So you need to change this pillar. You change this pillar because it's autonomous. And the building is constructed on this Coldrerio of this platea, 3 steps to be up from the ground, transforming nature in culture. This is the Mario Botta also always say this: when you put a stone on the ground, you change nature and you start to transform it in architecture. It's a very important. It's a very sacred moment when you start to transform the surface of the earth. We did some experience about this. These are the pillars. The pillars are burned and brushed. It's not painted. And the pillars are connected with this beam. This is a design we prepare with the carpenter. The carpenter work a lot, not in the site, but in his own laboratorio. It's a really prefabricated building. We did some studies here. These are metallical pieces to connect the wooden structure. Those are the pillars. The pillars receive a kind of design of, you make here a cut. It gives more elegance to the pillar. And this leitmotif appear in all the structure. This is the metallical structure who connect the pillar to the ground. We've fabricated this. This is put inside to the wooden pillar. The wooden pillar is burned. The wooden pillar is then brushed. And then when you brush, you need to brush in vena. It's not like this, but it's like this. You make appear
along the vein.
Along the vein, exactly, in the direction of the growth of the tree. And it's like an old wood. You see the veins. With the engineer, we did also an important part, the concrete part. The concrete part, we are there. This is the sacred moment when you arrive and you decide where the building, you trace the axis of the building. This is the engineer. Then you start to transform, you build the basis. And the idea is to show the gravel of the concrete, because the concrete in nature, it's nice, but also not so nice. So the idea was to have some concrete structure looking not so technical. We put some gravel also up, and then it was polished. Maybe the word, it's polished. You take away some surface of the concrete, and you leave the stone of the gravel coming out. And then the color it's gray, it's concrete. So the idea is you need to give some protection. It's an oil, it's a product. Put some pigment on the oil. This was brown, this was yellow, and we decided to give some color to the protection, and this is the final result. It's not anymore gray. It's like more earth color. It's more yellow, more orange. This is one part of the work finished. You prepare the ground for the for the structure. Then the carpenter cut, design on the floor, the plan. These are called DIMA. I don't know in English how is the name. It's like a model. To design on the ground these 4 holes. It was very hot this day. This is the carpenter. After the work, they were destroyed, but they had a drone. So I like very much this picture of working people. But after this work, they make the design, they make the holes in all this structure for the pillars. Each pillar 4 rods. You need to do this work very precisely, because if you do this, the work it's very quick. You arrive with your pillars, you put the pillars, you fix the pillar, and then you start to close the building. This was 1 day of work. In 1 day of work, the structure of the building was built. You see, they put the pillars, and then they put the beams, they connect the beams with the pillars, and it fixed, and then it closed. When you close, you stabilize the structure also. These panels, very thin, the walls are only this, panels very thin. And these walls stabilize, and the roof also stabilize all the structure. It's a self-ventilated building. It's open. It's open, say, you put there a net in order to keeping outside the bees and also other insects, but the air can circulate. And on the ground, 10 centimeters of empty air you can pass. We make some water system, and the final result, it's this. It's in the place. It's very light. Also, the roof is very thin. It's a low-tech, very low-tech building. Pillars prefabricated and wooden panels. No insulation, nothing of this. The roof also it's very thin, only a panel with carta catramata, with impermeabilization on the wood. Very simple. You see the mouth, the big wall to be inside and looking to the beekeeper working with the bee houses. We need you have a curtain, because if you don't close, the birds were found dead. Curtain, the birds stop. The inside is yellow, the outside is yellow. It's not because of the bees, but because the color of the panels. It's like they arrive. You can see here the pillars with this design. The beams also have a light inside of this line. You see the open space on the ground and on the ceiling. Some kind of Japanese picture. The place is very nice also. This is called the Queen's Terrace, il terrazzo delle regine, because each people have a queen, and the bees' home are there, and they fly out from this terrazzo delle regine. It's very poetic also as name. And this is the classroom in which it's the beekeeping it's taught. You see in the beams we have some LED lines, and all the electricity it's exhibited. You can see it, and we don't have space inside the wall. It's all outside in vista. Also, it's all declared. The laboratorio to do smielature. We need some hygienical finishing, so 2 meters of the wall are cladded with inox metal. The building is completely transparent in the longitudinal direction, and they completely close in the long walls. So you cross with the view to laboratorio, classroom, and outside. And here you can see you are safe, and you can see the beekeeper. We also have a inside camera, so you can see also what happened inside with a circuito chiuso camera that it's put inside to the arnia. The finishing, it's all roasted. It's metal without trattamento. It becomes roasted with time. And everything it's outside, you can see. This building is finished 4 years ago. It was published in Domus, and it was also published in Divisare in 2021, the Calendario of September with Herzog and Demeron. It's an honor, and it's nice to share with you this honor. Here is the list of people that have worked, and this is the story of the apiario.
Enrico, thank you very much for this presentation.
Welcome.
And I would like to ask you one more question to complete your presentation. And the question is, what do you think is the future of prefabricated wood in the context of housing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the chance for modular wood construction in housing to be the future, or do you think we need still to wait for more developments before this really can take place?
I can tell you that I know a lot of experiences just running now. This conference of Linium, for instance, was held by an engineer, and the engineer was a specialist of structures in wood. L'ingegnere Bernasconi. Here in Ticino, it's a specialist, and in Switzerland also we have a tradition now getting harder and harder of structures in wood, structure of multi-story building. So it's a specific research pattern. It's not only prefabricated modules, it's a story. This is structure of the buildings made in wood, XLAM. You don't see the wood is inside, so it's like a building construction material. This is a way that I see that the wood, it's now in Switzerland being applied a lot, but also a lot of monos. For me, I see a lot of production in prefabrication in wood, not necessarily looking. You can have this building also in white if you want, because the structure is the wood, and the cladding is another story. In my opinion, it's important to see the wood, because if you want a wooden house, it's nicer that you see, and we work a lot with this, the look of the wood. But the structural part in wood, it's a present and ongoing, and it's more sustainable as material because of the CO2 emissions, and the concrete, it's less ecological. We can speak a lot about the question of ecology, but the wood is considered more ecological, and you have another cycle of life. Also, you can reuse the wood easily than the concrete. So the wood, it's a very important material for sustainable future building industry in Switzerland, but also in place in which the wood is produced. So in my opinion, I see an important future.